So let's talk about construction safety. One of the most hazardous industry where you need to have high level of safety control is in this construction industry, and that is because of the series of complex activities that goes on in construction, from building of skyscrapers, complex building, building of construction infrastructure, and installation of process lines. So many activities occur in the construction industry, and that is why there is need for deeper understanding of part of the essentials of construction safety. There's a whole lot of things to talk about construction safety, but we will talk about them one at a time. Where's the beginning? The beginning from the design. Construction safety doesn't start from where you start operation on site or where you start your construction activity. From the design stage, if you want to practice real safety, from the design stage of whatever is being constructed, whatever is going to be present in that particular plot or plots or acre of land, all those things need to be put into consideration, the safety aspect from the design stage. That is why they need to engage safety consultants, safety professionals, safety experts to look at the overall design and see that they incorporate safety practice. Even based on regulations, there are some requirements, some specific requirements that are regulatory requirements that must be in your design, your building, even for normal home building construction facilities to complex buildings. So it starts from there. Then after all this, if this has been done, it has been approved, they now talk about entering the site layout, from the clearing of the bush to safety control measures that they need to put in place for clearing. They need to fence, take hold of their plots or wherever they are doing the building. They need to take hold of that location by fencing it around to ensure that there's proper control, your entry point, your exit point, and pedestrian walkways. But from beginning, the site clearance comes in and they put adequate safety procedure to ensure that the clearing of the green field or brown field is done effectively to start the operation. Then your site layout, mapping out your site. Where do you have the office? Where do you have the restroom, the toilet, and how do they evacuate the waste that comes from it? Where do you have where the construction is going to take place? Where do you have your tools being stored? Where do you have your heavy duty equipment being stored? Where do you have your materials, your irons, your reinforcement bar, the plank, the scaffold material? Where are they going to place all these items? There must be proper plant layout to avoid collision and to avoid poor safety practice. Because if you don't take hold of your site from the beginning of the project, or when you commence your own part of the project, because most times construction companies, they won't engage the consultants at the beginning. It is at the midpoint they will start, or when they've already started, then they now call to the consultant. Whenever you start, you must take hold and take control of your site, unless the site will make use of you. And when the site makes use of you, it's going to be in a useless way. So take hold of the site, utilize the site effectively, take control of the safety aspect. Then from after all this has been done, you have your site layout, you have the design done. Then for the activities, then you now, for complex activities in a complex construction site, even in normal, because construction site is actually hazardous, you can implement permit to work processes where every project, every activity, every task that is done will go through permit. But before permit, there's what we call risk assessment, hazard identification and risk assessment. So this will have been done from the beginning. There is this method statement that comes from the engineers. From the project charter, they will have had list of activities they want to carry out. They will have their method statement. From all the method statement, you will draft your risk assessment for every activity. And risk assessment will also help you in developing some specific SOPs from some tasks, for lifting operation, for manual handling, for equipment operation, for earthwork, for welding operation, for confined space operation, for work at height, for excavation. Every activity you will develop risk assessment for all activities, then standard SOPs for general operations of these key processes that they might be involved, or key procedures to do some jobs. Apart from having your risk assessment, you can also have your SOP. Your SOP will give general guidelines. Then the risk assessment will be focused on the specific tasks, because risk assessments are not generic. So from there, when you have your SOPs, when you have your risk assessment, then you can now start implementing permit to work system. Then for the personnel that wants to come to your site to work, there's what we call fitness to work. To ensure that they are fit to work, their medical fitness certificate is very important. You don't want someone to come to your site and start fainting. Another thing that you need to bring, depending on the kind of work that they are doing, will require some level of competency. Some will require competence. Some will require competency by certification. Some will require competency by certification, qualification, and they will also be licensed to do the job. Example for some equipment operators, lifting operator, crane operators, critical activities. You might even need extra license. Even for your engineers, maybe current engineers, you might need license from current to be able to where they renew their competency and they have been evaluated, so that you know that you have competent person doing the job. Because the most important thing is for you to have competent person to do the job. Then for the equipment that come to site, depending on the equipment, some equipment will require you to have third-party certification. Heavy duty equipment, ensure that they've been properly certified by a third party and they are ready to be used. For regular electrical appliances, regular equipment, ensure that the operator or the user of this equipment, they've been communicated to how to use this equipment, and other general things I will talk about later. Then for the chemicals, materials that come to your site, ensure that you get the SDS or MSDS as the case may be, and this SDS properly communicated to whoever you will be using them. So you keep documentations of all these things. Like very common saying, if it's not documented, it is not done. So ensure proper documentation of every key activity that will be taking place in your workplace, and the permit to work will help you to do that. Then you can develop various checklists for whichever task you want to do. All this must be available at the beginning of the project for you to have a smooth run all through the project, because by the time the project starts and you come across some challenges, because there will still be challenges, having this plan on ground from your safety plan, your HSE plan or manual will help you to be able to manage those problems. But when you're not prepared and issues come up, it can meet you in a very negative way. So these are some of the things basically from the beginning that you need to put in place at the beginning of the project before you now start talking about other things, which in our next video we'll be discussing. See you in the next video.